Congress just issued an order that has never been given in 248 years of American history. Military personnel are now being directed to physically remove a sitting president from the White House after Donald Trump openly defied an impeachment conviction verdict delivered by the Senate just 47 minutes ago. And this isn't a symbolic gesture or political pressure campaign. This is the constitutional process reaching its absolute breaking point, triggered when a president who was convicted by a vote of 71 to 29, including 20 Republicans, stood at a hastily arranged press conference and declared he will not leave office, will not recognize the Senate's authority, and will order federal agencies to ignore what he called an illegitimate coup. When the House Sergeant at Arms formally requests military assistance to enforce a constitutional removal order, you know the system designed to prevent exactly this scenario just shattered. Hit that subscribe button right now because you won't want to miss any of the videos I release covering this unprecedented constitutional crisis as it unfolds. So what triggered this extraordinary moment where Congress is literally calling in military enforcement to remove a president? According to the official Senate record released 34 minutes ago, the final impeachment vote concluded at 3:17 p.m. Eastern Time, with 71 senators voting to convict Trump on charges of betraying national security for personal financial gain, the largest bipartisan majority in any impeachment trial in American history. The conviction was based on evidence presented during a 3-week trial that included intercepted communications showing Trump sharing classified military intelligence with foreign officials, Treasury Department financial records tracking $2.3 billion in payments to Trump Organization accounts following those disclosures, and sworn testimony from 4 national security whistleblowers who witnessed the exchanges. This wasn't a partisan vote split along predictable lines. This was 20 Republican senators joining all 51 Democrats to remove a president from their own party, with Senate Majority Whip John Thune, Judiciary Chairman Lindsey Graham, and Intelligence Committee Vice Chairman Marco Rubio all voting to convict. But here's where the constitutional crisis exploded beyond anything the founders anticipated. Within 12 minutes of the Senate vote being certified, Trump appeared in the White House briefing room, flanked by what witnesses describe as private security personnel, and declared, "I do not recognize this fraudulent Senate vote. I was elected by the American people, not by corrupt senators. I remain your president, and I will continue to execute my duties. Any attempt to remove me will be met with resistance." Constitutional scholars immediately recognize this as the nightmare scenario. The system depends on the convicted party accepting the verdict. When they refuse, when they publicly defy the constitutional process while controlling executive branch resources, you're witnessing the moment when institutional norms that held for 2.5 centuries collapse in real time. The scene inside that briefing room, according to journalists who were present, was unlike anything witnessed in modern presidential history. Trump spoke for 8 minutes without taking questions. His hands gripped the podium with visible tension. Behind him stood approximately a dozen individuals wearing dark suits with earpieces, identified by White House correspondents as employees of a private security firm rather than Secret Service agents. One reporter from the Associated Press noted that the usual Secret Service detail that accompanies presidential appearances was conspicuously absent from the room, standing instead along the back wall in what witnesses described as an extremely uncomfortable posture, uncertain whether to remain or leave. The visual itself communicated the fracture. A president surrounding himself with private security while delivering a defiant speech against constitutional authority represents the exact scenario the founders designed the impeachment process to prevent. What made Trump's statement even more legally problematic was the specific language he used. According to the official White House transcript released 29 minutes ago, Trump stated, "I have instructed all cabinet secretaries and agency heads to disregard any communications from Congress claiming to transfer executive authority. I have ordered the Secret Service to maintain normal protective protocols around me as the sitting president. I have directed the Department of Justice to investigate the senators who participated in this sham conviction for treason against the American people." Each of those directives, according to constitutional law experts who analyzed them on CNN within minutes of the speech ending, represents an attempt to use executive power to nullify a constitutional process. The problem for Trump is that his authority to issue those directives ended the moment the Senate vote reached 67. He's issuing orders from a position he no longer legally occupies. Smash that like button if this is making sense so far. Here's the full picture of how we arrived at this crisis point. The Senate trial that concluded today began 4 weeks ago after 18 Republican senators joined Democrats in drafting articles of impeachment following a classified intelligence briefing on January 20th that senators from both parties described as devastating. According to Senator Mitt Romney, who led the Republican group, the briefing presented by Director of National Intelligence Avril Haines and NSA Director Timothy Half included decrypted transcripts of Trump discussing classified satellite capabilities with foreign officials, financial intelligence tracking wire transfers between foreign entities and Trump properties, and classified annexes documenting 11 separate instances where disclosure preceded payment. The trial itself featured testimony from Navy Admiral James Stavridis, who explained how the disclosed intelligence compromised ongoing operations. Former Treasury Secretary Jack Lew walked senators through forensic analysis of financial flows. And on the trial's most dramatic day, a White House national security staffer testified under oath that he personally heard Trump tell advisors in September 2024, "They want to know about our Pacific capabilities. I'll give them what they want if they approve the Jakarta Towers." What makes the evidence so compelling is that it wasn't based on interpretation or disputed witness accounts. The prosecution presented intercepts, the actual transcribed conversations. They showed wire transfer records, the specific account numbers and amounts. They played recorded testimony from intelligence officials describing the security damage. According to Senator Angus King, who chairs the Intelligence Committee's Cybersecurity Subcommittee, "I went into this trial skeptical. I left certain. The evidence is ironclad. The pattern is unmistakable. Intelligence shared, payment received, repeated across nearly a year. This isn't complex. It's quid pro quo documented with signals intelligence." The breaking point came during the trial's final week when Senator Lindsey Graham, Trump's most consistent defender for 8 years, rose on the Senate floor and delivered what witnesses describe as the most emotional speech of his career. According to the official transcript, Graham stated, his voice breaking multiple times according to senators present, "I have defended this president through 2 impeachments. I have explained conduct that made me uncomfortable because I believed he pursued legitimate policy goals. But after reviewing the classified evidence in its totality, after seeing intercepts where he acknowledges sharing information he knows is classified, after examining financial records showing payments within days of those disclosures, I cannot in good conscience vote to acquit. What we are looking at is not political disagreement. It is betrayal of the oath we all took. If we acquit despite this evidence, we are saying no misconduct is too serious for removal. I will vote to convict." Graham's statement shifted momentum irreversibly. Within 48 hours, 5 additional Republican senators announced
Your fight is our fight.
Ваша боротьба – це наша боротьба.
2017 will be the year of offense.
Рік 2017 рік буде рік нападу.
All of us will go back to Washington and we will push the case against Russia.
Ми всі повернемося до Вашингтону і ми будемо відстоювати санкції проти Росії.
Enough of a Russian aggression.
Досить вже російської агресії.
It is time for them to pay a heavier price.
Час вже, щоб вони заплатили важчу ціну.
I believe you will win. I am convinced you will win, and we will do everything we can to provide you with what you need to win.
Я вірю в те, що ви виграєте, переможете. Я переконаний в тому, що ви переможете, і ми вам допоможемо всіма можливими засобами.